What if I told you that the humble sardine is not just a food, but a profound and a very beautiful art form? And that by learning this beautiful art, you could unlock its full and its most powerful healing potential. Today, we are not just giving you a list of mistakes. We are taking a masterclass in the art of the sardine. Welcome back to Healthier Daily, the channel where we give you the simple, science-backed truths to live a stronger and more independent life after 60. I'm your host, Dr. Ben Carter. And to be our wise master artisan for this special and very elegant masterclass, we are joined by a physician who has spent his life teaching the profound wisdom of treating our food and our bodies with great and with beautiful respect. It is our great honor to welcome Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you for having me, Ben. A true artisan has a deep and a very beautiful respect for his materials. He understands them. He does not waste them. He honors them. And in doing so, he is able to transform a simple piece of wood or a simple piece of clay into a beautiful masterpiece. The humble and the very powerful sardine must be treated with the same and beautiful respect. This is so very important. I had a patient, a wonderful man who was a retired woodworker. He had spent his entire life as a master craftsman. He understood the art of precision and of deep respect for his materials. But for his own health, he had forgotten his own beautiful lesson. He would eat his sardines, but he would do so with no art and with no respect. And so he was missing out on all of their most precious and beautiful gifts.
And that is exactly what our guide is all about today. In this detailed masterclass, Master Hinohara is going to teach us the three beautiful and essential lessons in this profound art form. In our journey today, we will first learn Lesson 1, the artisan's selection, which is about choosing our beautiful materials. We will then learn Lesson 2, the artisan's preparation, which is about honoring the material. And finally, we will learn Lesson 3, the artisan's presentation, which is about creating the masterpiece. It is a true blessing to have this kind of knowledge to be able to transform the simple and the very humble act of eating into a beautiful and a sacred act of healing. If you are ready to become a true artisan of your own health, this beautiful Thursday morning, please type the number 1 in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. It's completely free, and you will not want to miss a single lesson in this beautiful and life-changing masterclass. Okay, Master Hinohara, our masterclass in the art of the sardine begins now. As our viewers are starting this beautiful Thursday morning, ready to learn what is the very first and most foundational lesson that any true artisan must master. Where does the art begin?
Yes, a true artisan knows that the masterpiece is created long before he ever touches the final material. The art begins with the selection. A master woodworker would never choose a piece of wood that is warped or wet. He knows that the final creation can only be as good as the raw materials that he chooses. And for our beautiful and healing art form today, our first and most important lesson is Lesson 1, the artisan's selection. And for my patient, the retired woodworker, this was the great aha moment in his entire journey. He had spent his life choosing his wood with such great care and with such great wisdom. But he had never thought to apply that same beautiful and profound wisdom to the food that he was putting into his body. His healing began when he started to see the grocery aisle as his new and most important workshop.
So the art begins in the grocery aisle. It is a beautiful and a very profound way to think about it. So for our viewers at home who are now ready to become artisans of their own health, What is the first and the most common mistake that people make when they are selecting their materials?
The first and most common mistake is that they choose the wrong and a very damaging environment for our beautiful fish. They choose the sardines that are packed in water instead of the ones that are packed in a beautiful and a high-quality oil. An artisan chooses oil, not water. The oil is a preserver, it is a protector, and it is a beautiful enhancer of flavor. The water is a thief. It steals the beautiful nutrients, and it leaves the fish tasting bland and very metallic.
So it is a double tragedy. You are losing both the beautiful flavor and the powerful medicine. Let's look at the deep and the very beautiful science of why this is so very true. There are three main reasons why the oil is so much better for our sardines. First, the beautiful and healthy fats that are in the oil, and especially a high-quality olive oil, create a beautiful and a very powerful protective barrier around the delicate fish. This barrier prevents the oxygen in the can from being able to damage the precious and the very delicate omega-3 fatty acids, the EPA and the DHA. So the oil is like a beautiful golden shield that is protecting the most important and the most powerful medicine that is in the fish from the damaging and the very corrosive force of oxidation. Second, many of the most important and most precious nutrients that are in the beautiful sardine, like the wonderful vitamin D and the beautiful antioxidant vitamin E, are fat-soluble. This means that they will naturally and beautifully dissolve into the oil that is in the can. So when you eat the beautiful oil, which we will talk about later in our video, you are getting all of these beautiful and precious nutrients. But if the fish is packed in water, many of these precious fat-soluble vitamins are lost or they are degraded. And third, and this is what the true connoisseurs of sardines have known for many, many years, the oil allows the beautiful sardines to age like a fine wine. Over time, the beautiful flavors of the fish in the oil begin to meld and to marry, and they create a taste that is much more rich and much more complex and beautiful. It is a true and a very beautiful culinary masterpiece. So the choice of oil over water is a non-negotiable for a true artisan, a beautiful and a very powerful first step. Now, Doctor, what is the second part of our artisan selection process?
The second part of our selection is to inspect the beautiful vessel that is holding our precious material. A wise artisan always inspects the beautiful container. You must look at the can itself.
And this is such a critical and a very important safety step. Let's create a simple 3-point inspection for our viewers at home to follow in the grocery store. Point number 1 is to always check the expiration date. While sardines can last for a very long time, they do not last forever. Point number 2 is to physically inspect the can. As the source text for our video so wisely warns, you must never ever buy a can that has any bulges, any rust, or any deep dents, especially along the seams. These are all signs that the beautiful and protective seal of the can may have been broken, which can allow dangerous bacteria to be able to grow inside. And point number 3 of your inspection is to simply turn the beautiful can over and to read the ingredient list. You want to make sure that it is packed in a beautiful and a very high quality oil, and preferably an extra virgin olive oil. And you want to make sure that there are no other unnecessary and very strange chemical ingredients.
And for our patient, the beautiful and wise woodworker, this became his new and his most beautiful ritual. He would go to the grocery store and he would take his time. He would hold the beautiful cans of sardines in his hands, and he would inspect them with the same and beautiful care and the same and beautiful attention to detail that he used to use when he was selecting a beautiful piece of wood for one of his creations. He had finally and truly become the artisan of his own health.
It is a truly blessed and a wonderful thing, Doctor, to be able to bring this beautiful and this sacred sense of art and of deep respect to all of the simple and the beautiful choices that we make for our bodies every single day. So our first lesson in the art of the sardine is now complete. We have learned how to be a wise artisan in the grocery store, how to perform the artisan selection by choosing the beautiful oil-packed sardines, and by carefully inspecting the can. It is a powerful and a very important first step. But Master Hinohara, now that our beautiful artisan has brought his precious materials back to his workshop, what is the next and the most important lesson in this beautiful art form?
Yes, now that we have our beautiful and precious material, we must now learn how to prepare it with the deep respect that it deserves. A true artisan never ever wastes a single part of his precious material. He understands that there is a hidden beauty and a hidden strength in every single piece. This is Lesson 2, the artisan's preparation. And for my patient, the retired woodworker, this was a beautiful and a very natural lesson for him to learn. He had spent his entire life using every single scrap of wood. He knew that even the smallest piece had a purpose. And when I taught him to see the beautiful sardine in the same way, a profound and a very beautiful shift happened in his heart and in his health.
So this entire lesson is about honoring the whole and beautiful fish. Let's start with the part that so many people in America mistakenly throw away. Let's talk about the bones.
Yes, the first and most important rule of the artisan's preparation is that you must honor the beautiful ivory treasures that are hidden inside of the fish. You must never, ever throw away the bones. These are not a nuisance. They are a precious and a very powerful gift.
And ivory treasures is the perfect and the most beautiful name for them. Let's look at the deep science of this. The single greatest mistake that a person can make when they are eating sardines is to try and pick out all of the tiny and delicate bones. As the source text for our videos so wisely notes, those tiny bones are one of the richest and most powerful natural sources of calcium in the entire world. A single serving of these beautiful sardine with the bones can provide more than a third of your entire daily needs for this essential bone-building mineral. And it is a beautiful and a very bioavailable form of calcium, which means that it is very easy for your body to be able to absorb and to use. And at the exact same time, the beautiful sardines are also a very rich source of vitamin D, which is the essential formin that is needed to be able to guide that precious calcium into your bones. It is a perfect and a very complete bone-building system, all in one tiny and beautiful fish.
And many people are afraid of the bones, are they not?
They are, but they do not need to be. The beautiful and the very high-pressure canning process makes these tiny bones so very soft and so very tender that most people do not even notice that they are there. They blend perfectly and seamlessly into the beautiful texture of the fish. When you throw away the bones, you are throwing away the greatest and most profound treasure that the beautiful sardine has to offer. So the first rule is to honor the bones, a beautiful and a very powerful first step. Now, Doctor, what is the second great sin that so many people commit against this beautiful fish?
The second great sin is to throw away the soul of the fish. You must learn to save the liquid gold. The beautiful oil that the sardine is packed in is not a waste product. It is a precious and a very powerful elixir of health.
And this is another profound and a very costly mistake that so many people make. Let's look at the science of this liquid gold. As we have learned, the precious omega-3 fatty acids and the fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D and vitamin E have been slowly and beautifully infusing into that beautiful oil for many, many months while the can has been sitting on the shelf. That beautiful golden oil is now a highly concentrated and a very delicious source of all of these precious and healing nutrients. When you pour that beautiful oil down the drain, you are literally pouring away the most concentrated part of the medicine. And from a culinary perspective, you are also throwing away a beautiful and a very powerful flavor booster. That beautiful oil is now full of the deep and the very rich, savory flavor of the sardine. A good and a wise chef would pay a great deal of money for such a beautiful and a very flavorful oil. You can use it as a beautiful and a very delicious base for a salad dressing. You can use it to be able to sauté your beautiful onions and your garlic before you make a pasta sauce. Or you can simply dip a beautiful piece of a warm and crusty bread into it for a simple and a very satisfying snack.
So the oil is a treasure, and that brings us to our final and very important part of the artisan's preparation.
Yes, and this final mistake is what I like to call the culinary crime, and that is the act of rinsing the sardines underwater. The source text for our video is very clear on this. This is one of the worst things that you can possibly do. Not only are you washing away all of that beautiful and nutrient-rich oil that we just talked about, but you are also damaging the beautiful and the very delicate texture of the fish itself. And if you are doing it to try and reduce the salt, it is not a very effective strategy because the salt have been absorbed deep into the flesh of the fish. If you are concerned about the salt, you must simply buy a low-sodium variety, or you must simply reduce the salt in the other parts of your beautiful meal.
And for our patient, the wise woodworker, this was the great and beautiful lesson that changed everything for him. He learned to see the beautiful sardine not as a simple and a cheap food, but as a precious and a very beautiful material that deserved his full and his undivided respect. He began to honor the bones, he began to save the beautiful oil, and he treated the entire and beautiful fish as a single and a very sacred masterpiece of nature.
It is a truly blessed and a very profound thing to be able to bring this beautiful and this sacred sense of art and of deep respect to all of the simple and the beautiful choices that we make for our bodies every single day. And we love sharing this kind of holistic wisdom with our global community. To help us see our global community, please let us know what city, state, or country you are watching from. We love hearing from all of you. So our first lesson in the art of the sardine has taught us the artisan's selection, how to choose our beautiful materials with great wisdom and care. And our second and very important lesson has taught us the artisan's preparation, how to honor and to respect every single part of our precious material. Our beautiful healing fish is now ready. But Master Hinohara, as you have so wisely taught us, a beautiful piece of prepared wood is not yet a beautiful chair. The art is not complete until the final presentation. What is the third and final lesson in our masterclass?
Yes, this is the final and the most joyful part of our entire art form. Now that our beautiful and precious material has been prepared with the greatest of respect, we must now learn how to present it as a true and beautiful masterpiece. This is Lesson 3, the artisan's presentation. A true artisan knows that the final form, the final presentation, is what brings the material to its highest and most beautiful expression. And for my patient, the retired woodworker, this was the lesson that brought him the greatest and most profound joy. He had learned to choose his beautiful materials with care. He had learned to prepare them with great respect. But now he was going to learn how to create a beautiful and a delicious masterpiece with them. He was not just a craftsman anymore. He was becoming an artist.
So this entire lesson is about transforming this simple and humble food into a true work of art on our plate. Let's start with the most common and the most uninspired presentation of all, the one that so many people in America are guilty of.
Yes, the first and the most common mistake is to simply eat the beautiful sardines straight from the can, with no love and with no artistry at all. An artisan would never do this. This is like a painter who has mixed his beautiful colors, but he has left them in a simple pile on the palette. It is an unfinished work. And when we do this, as the source text for our video so wisely notes, we become bored very, very quickly, and the beautiful healing food becomes a simple and a very sad chore.
So the art is in the beautiful and intelligent combination. Let's look at the science of this. The art of flavor is a beautiful science of contrast. The beautiful sardine has a very rich, a very savory, and a very oily flavor profile. And to be able to make that beautiful flavor truly shine, a great artist knows that he must pair it with its beautiful and its perfect opposite. It needs a bright and a very vibrant contrast. The first and most important element of contrast is acidity. A simple squeeze of a fresh lemon juice or a drizzle of a beautiful vinegar is like the bright and beautiful highlight in a painting. It cuts through all of the richness of the beautiful oil, it cleanses the palate, and it makes the entire experience feel light and very vibrant. The second element of contrast is freshness. A beautiful and a very generous sprinkle of fresh and beautiful herbs, like a beautiful parsley or a dill, is like a beautiful and a very fresh breeze that is blowing through the painting. It adds a beautiful and a very clean green note that balances the deep and the very savory flavor of the sea. And the final element of contrast is texture. The beautiful and soft texture of the sardine becomes so much more interesting and so much more satisfying when it is paired with something that is crispy and crunchy, like a beautiful piece of a whole grain toast or some fresh and beautiful crunchy vegetables.
So, the art is in the beautiful and the very wise balance of all of these different elements. Now, Doctor, what are some simple and beautiful masterpieces that our viewers at home can create this beautiful Thursday?
The first and the most classic masterpiece is, of course, the artisan's sardine toast. You will start with a beautiful and a very sturdy piece of a whole grain or a sourdough bread, and you will toast it until it is golden and crispy. You will then take your beautiful sardines and you will gently mash them in a small bowl with all of that precious and beautiful oil from the can. You will then add a generous squeeze of a fresh lemon juice and a beautiful handful of some freshly chopped parsley. You will spread this beautiful and savory mixture onto your warm and crispy toast. It is the perfect and the most beautiful portrait of a classic and a very healing meal. A second and a very beautiful masterpiece is the Mediterranean sardine salad. You will simply take your beautiful sardines and you will gently break them apart over a bed of fresh and beautiful greens. You will then add some beautiful sweet cherry tomatoes, some salty olives, and you will drizzle the entire and beautiful creation with all of that precious and golden oil from the can. It is a beautiful and a very vibrant landscape of healing flavors. And a final and a very comforting masterpiece for a cool evening is the sardine pasta. You will simply make your favorite and beautiful tomato sauce. And right at the very end of the cooking, you will gently stir in your beautiful sardines and all of their precious oil. It is a warm and a very comforting still life in a beautiful and a very nourishing bowl.
So these are the beautiful and the very simple masterpieces that we can all create. Now, Doctor, let's go back one final time to our patient, the wise woodworker, who had forgotten his own beautiful art.
This was the beautiful and the very successful conclusion to his healing story. The artisan who had lost his beautiful craft learned how to apply all three of these beautiful and profound lessons to his own health. He learned the artisan's selection by choosing his beautiful materials with great and profound care. He learned the artisan's preparation by honoring the whole and beautiful fish with great respect. And finally, he learned the artisan's presentation by transforming this humble food into a beautiful and a very delicious masterpiece every single day. And because he had found this new and beautiful art form, because he had found this new and profound joy in his kitchen, he was finally able to be consistent with his healing. And after a few months of this beautiful and very joyful practice, something wonderful began to happen. The deep and the chronic inflammation that was in his body began to calm down. The beautiful circulation in his hands and his feet began to improve. And he told me with great and beautiful joy in his voice, I have not just found a new and a healing food, doctor. I have found a new and a very beautiful craft.
That is a truly beautiful and a blessed story. It is a powerful reminder that our healing is not just about the science and the medicine, but it is also about the beautiful and the sacred joy that we can find in the simple and the beautiful art of nourishing our own bodies.
Doctor, that was an incredible and a truly beautiful masterclass. You have taken the humble sardine and you have elevated it into a profound art form for healing. Your art of the sardine protocol is a powerful and a very new way for all of us to think about fighting inflammation, improving our circulation, and reducing our chronic joint pain. This is a truly profound and a very hopeful approach to senior health. By learning the artisan's selection, the artisan's preparation, and the artisan's presentation, our viewers can now stop seeing this beautiful food as a simple chore, and they can start to see it as a beautiful and a very powerful expression of self-care. They can unlock the full power of its beautiful omega-3s to be able to find relief from their joint pain. This important knowledge is a true cornerstone of a proactive senior health strategy. Now, for our viewers at home who are watching this beautiful Thursday morning and are now inspired to become an artisan of their own health, what is the artisan's action plan? What is the simple and the very actionable plan that they can start this weekend?
Yes, the master plan for a new and a very wise artisan is a very simple and a very beautiful one. And it begins with a new and a very clear sense of purpose for your next trip to the grocery store. You must not try to become a master overnight. Instead, you will begin with 3 simple and very joyful lessons for your new week. Your first and most important job as a new artisan is to practice Lesson 1. The next time that you're at the grocery store, perhaps this weekend, your only job is to be a curious and a very gentle artisan. You will practice the artisan selection. You will take your time in the canned fish aisle. You will read the labels. You will look for the beautiful sardines that are packed in a high-quality olive oil. And you will inspect the beautiful can with great care. This is a beautiful and a very mindful act of choosing your materials with wisdom. Your second job for this new week is to practice lesson 2. The first time that you open one of your new and beautiful cans of sardines, your only job is to be a respectful artisan. You will practice the artisan's preparation. You will honor the whole and beautiful fish. You will save the beautiful and golden oil. And you will honor the beautiful and precious ivory treasures of the bones. And your third and final job for this week is to create one masterpiece. You will take those beautiful and respectfully prepared sardines, and you will practice lesson 3 just one time. You will create one simple and beautiful masterpiece. Perhaps it is the beautiful and classic artisan's sardine toast. You will create it with love, and you will eat it with great and beautiful joy. This is how you begin your beautiful and lifelong journey as a healing artisan.
That is a perfect and a very achievable action plan for this weekend, Doctor.
Your beautiful body is your greatest and your most precious work of art, and the food that you eat is the beautiful and the sacred material that you use to be able to create it. I encourage you to choose your materials with the love and with the deep respect of a master artisan. The beautiful act of healing is not a chore. It is the highest and the most beautiful form of creation. It is about bringing a sense of beauty and of deep and profound intention to the simple and the very sacred daily act of nourishing our bodies.
That is a beautiful and a very inspiring message to end on, Doctor. Thank you for teaching us this beautiful and profound art of the sardine today. And for all of you who are watching at home, if you found this guide empowering and it inspired you to see your food as a beautiful art form, please give this video a like. It truly helps others who may be feeling overwhelmed by their health to be able to find this joyful and very healing message. And be sure to share it with a friend or a family member who you know would love to find the art in their own healing journey. If you have not already, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. It is completely free, and it ensures that you will not miss our next deep dive into your health and your well-being. We would be so honored to have you as a part of our growing community of healing artisans. And for our community discussion today, we would love to know which lesson in the art of the sardine, the selection, the preparation, or the presentation was the biggest aha moment for you. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, as the source text for our video noted, while sardines are a beautiful and a very healthy food for most people, it is absolutely essential that you speak with your personal doctor before adding them to your diet, especially if you have a history of gout, kidney stones, or high blood pressure. Our conversation today is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for the direct medical advice from your own trusted physician. Thank you for being with us. Be well.